नमस्ते सदा वत्सले मातृभूमे, नमस्ते सदा वत्सले मातृभूमे, महामंगले पुण्यभूमे त्वदर्थे, महामंगले पुण्यभूमे त्वदर्थे, पतत्येशकायो नमस्ते नमस्ते, पतत्येशकायो नमस्ते नमस्ते। सादरं त्वा नमामो वयम्, त्वदीयाय कार्याय बद्धाः कटीयम्, शुभम् आशिषं देहि तत्पूर्तये, अजय्या च विश्वस्य देहि शक्तिम्, सुशीलं जगद्येन नम्रं भवेत्, श्रुतं चैव यत्कण्टकाकीर्णमार्गम्, स्वयं स्वीकृतं नः सुगं कर्येत, नमस्ते सदा वत्सले मातृभूमे, नमस्ते सदा वत्सले मातृभूमे, महामंगले पुण्यभूमे त्वदर्थे, महामंगले पुण्यभूमे त्वदर्थे, पतत्येशकायो नमस्ते नमस्ते, पतत्येशकायो नमस्ते नमस्ते। सदा वत्सले मातृभूमे महामङ्गले पुण्यभूमे त्वदर्थे पतत्येशकायो नमस्ते नमस्ते सादरं त्वा नमामो वयम्
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, sister.
Now I can hear. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ankur sir. Ankur sir.
So good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sister.
Yes,
Ankur
Yeah,
sir.
best
Are you
wishes.
there?
हाँ सर बोलिए.
Has Tanisha ma'am joined?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, Goldie ma'am, are you there? Goldie ma'am? Hello?
सर मैं बात कर रहा हूँ उनसे, मैं बोलता हूँ उनको.
सर गोल्डी मैम लेफ्ट हो गई हैं गलती से.
रवि सर
Yes. Yes sir.
मुझे होस्ट कंट्रोल दे दीजिए.
ठीक है सर.
रवि सर, गोल्डी मैम is here.
Yes sir. Yes sir. Ankur sir, you are not visible here actually. Did you sign in with another device?
No sir, Ankur Sodani me.
Actually, you are not visible here.
अंकुर सर वीडियो ऑन कर लीजिए अपना.
Yes sir, yes.
Yes sir. Now. Now sir, control is your hand now.
Yes, okay.
Ankur sir, on your go, huh?
Yes.
All the best.
So please, other unmute your mic. Only the speaker will mute. Yes, sir.
Yes. So, a delightful afternoon to one and all present in today's international webinar titled Economic and Psychological Challenges and Solutions Post-COVID-19. With reverence, I acknowledge the gracious presence of Director, Reverend Father Simon Raj, and Principal, Dr. Sister Alice Thomas, St. Paul Institute of Professional Studies. Eminent resource persons of the day, Dr. Animesh Singh and Dr. Rahul Mathur. Faculty members of the Department of Commerce, participants from different states of India and abroad, and dear students. To give a divine commencement to this webinar, may I request Professor Tanisha Dalal to invoke God's blessings through a prayer. Tanisha ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Please get ready for the prayer. Lord, our refuge, we thank you for listening unfailingly to the cries of your people. You have been our anchor in the midst of this pandemic, and you have provided us with our needs and the hope to get through every day. We also thank you for giving us this opportunity to gather for the webinar. O loving God, we pray that you will give us courage and wisdom as we face the hard realities which confront us in life around the world today. We send out our prayers to you, O Lord, to protect the frontliners who have been facing this battle boldly. We also pray for our esteemed resource persons, Dr. Animesh Singh and Dr. Rahul Mathur. We also pray for our Honorable Director, Reverend Father Simon Raj, and our respected Principal, Dr. Sister Alice Thomas. We offer unto you, O Lord, all the participants of this webinar. We pray that this webinar may be successful. We offer this prayer in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Professor Tanisha, for such a soulful prayer. Now, I humbly request our benevolent principal, Dr. Sister Alice Thomas, to welcome all with her words of blessings.
Honorable Director, Reverend Father Simon Raj, today's resource persons, Dr. Animesh Singh and Dr. Rahul Mathur, and the participants from different parts of the world, and my dear faculty, staff, students, a blessed good afternoon to one and all present here, and a warm welcome to one and all for this international webinar organizing by St. Paul Institute of Professional Studies, Indore, Madhya Pradesh, India. At the outset, I wish to thank God and congratulate the Department of Commerce for organizing this international webinar titled Economic and Psychological Challenges and Solutions Post-COVID-19. May this international webinar motivate you and inspire you, and our loving God, the Father, keep you all safe in his loving hands. From the Bible, Isaiah 41:10, do not afraid, I am with you. I will help you. I will strengthen you. I will heal you. I will uphold you with my right hand. So do not afraid. God is with us. Everything will pass away. Prosperity will come. So be hopeful always. So once again, I heartily welcome all of you. Best wishes. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Principal, for your kind welcome. I now call upon Dr. Goldie Zaki, Head of the Department Commerce, to introduce our first speaker of the day, Dr. Animesh Singh. Goldie, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you. A cheerful afternoon to all. I feel immensely elated to introduce to you the first resource person of the webinar, Dr. Animesh Singh. Presently working as Associate Professor and Head Department of Marketing, School of Business Studies, Sharda University, Greater Noida, Sir possesses extensive 15 years of teaching and 6 years of industry experience. A doctorate in international business, Sir specializes in teaching international business, human values, and ethics. He has his education roots in Indore, as his graduation and post-graduation degree is from Devi Ahlia University and the College IPS Academy. Dr. Singh has to his credit having delivered numerous skills development programs for the educational and industrial personnel. Sir has published papers and his papers were awarded a number of times as the best research papers. He has convened and coordinated national and international conferences and seminars a number of times. We are indeed fortunate to have an illustrious personality with us today. Sir would share from his expertise as to how COVID 19 has posed us to economic challenges and would also suggest certain measures to overcome the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Goldie. It is for the kind attention of the participants. Dear participants, we have question answer sessions in 2 phases, each after the end of speech of the resource persons. If you have any question, then please write the same in your YouTube live chat box. The question will be forwarded to the resource person. Now, I cordially invite Dr. Animesh Singh to enlighten all of us with his useful insights. Sir, please.
Thank you, Professor Ravi. I would like to thank Dr. Goldie. I thank Sister Alice and Father Simon. You have given me this opportunity to speak in the area which happens to be the area of my interest, which is international business. And we all see that world over, we are witnessing this immense challenge which everybody is trying to come out of. And we are struggling hard to come out of it. Now, what I have done is that I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation and I would be sharing that presentation with you all to take these 3 major points of the presentation. The first point is how is the business getting affected? World over, in India and also outside India, how are the businesses getting impacted and affected? The second point would be that what are the challenges and threats? And the third point is related to the opportunity and how do we overcome these threats. Now, before I start, I would just want to ask you all if I am audible to everyone. If you could just...
Sir, just a little louder.
All right. You want me to speak a little louder here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Okay. I hope, am I audible now to everyone?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
you
a
are
little
audible.
better. Yes.
All right. All right. So I start sharing this presentation and all right. So I hope this is visible to all of you, this presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So this is a webinar on economic and psychological challenges. I'm the first speaker here. And I straight away go to the very first point that I said, which is how are businesses getting impacted? Now, if you see, there are some of these industries listed here that these are the industries that have suffered the maximum. Now, this is not only in India, but in different countries. So tourism and hospitality, we have malls, multiplexes, restaurants, sports, entertainment, financial market and investment, and petroleum. These are the industries which are hit the maximum by this pandemic. Now, there are other industries like financial markets and investments have gone down because nobody wants to invest as of now. We just want to wait and watch as to how the pandemic is going to pan up. And therefore, world over, we witness that the financial markets have come down. Transportation and logistics, obviously, because of the lockdown is getting impacted, adversely affected. We have print media and advertising, which has suffered severely, and we have seen massive layoffs in this area. The global value chains have suffered because of the lack of trade, and the countries are not importing because the demand has gone down. Then there is this transportation, whether we look at rail, road, airways, waterways, this has got severely impacted. Then the semiconductor and electronics industry, which is under lockdown world over, especially if we see in China, though we have seen the revival recently, but then this is also suffering a lot. Yeah, we've seen that manufacturing has come to a grinding halt. There is an inertia, which basically means that when the manufacturing goes on, then quite frankly, there is an inertia which takes care of itself. The ball gets rolling. And once it comes to a grinding halt, it requires a lot of effort to start the manufacturing all over again. And then there is this imposition of lockdown. The pandemic has this characteristic that people just cannot get in touch with one another, and that's why there is
Good
this
afternoon. Good
suffering.
afternoon.
Yeah, am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. So yeah, as I said that this is unprecedented, and it is said that the world has not seen a similar crisis since 1930s, when we basically talk of the Great Depression, and which lasted for several years. And this is what is expected, and there are some economists who have said that we might actually be witnessing the depression. Though the world has changed, there is better technology, and the possibility of coming out of this depression is very much there, but then we do not know as to how it is going to pan out. Then now there's this problem that the workers cannot work remotely in some businesses. Like we teachers can always work from home, but then not all jobs are like that. And which is why we have seen various layoffs. And the customers cannot come to the businesses. Businesses are also not able to go to the customers. And therefore, there is a complete sort of dipping of the business and business sentiment. Now, I would just like to share with you the massive and the most important problem that we all are facing is when there is a man-to-man of physical touch, physical contact. So when we look at the industries like restaurant or malls or the multiplexes where there is man-to-man physical proximity, those are the businesses which are suffering the most. And also where you have a salesperson meeting with multiple uh, buyers and customers at once, those are the businesses that have suffered the most. Then comes the man on machine, which means the repairs and services. Though they have faced the problem, but then gradually we see world over that is now sort of uh, taken care of, and that the repairs and mechanics can be invited to repair the machines. Then there is this concept of machine on man, which is dispensers and ATMs. And just one second, it appears to me. All right. Okay. Yeah. So the dispensers and ATMs are the ones which are working fine, and that doesn't have that much of a problem. The only issue is that one has to be very careful about the protocols to be followed, and being aware of whether it is sort of properly uh, taken care of in terms of getting the machines sanitized. Then there is this machine on machine, which means that there is internet and online solutions, online transactions, and we are using net banking. So the machine on machine, this type of business where there is use of internet and technology, these businesses are not suffering that much. So yeah, this is one impact which I wanted to talk about and sort of highlight. Yeah, now aid is needed. Now, this is the problem, that aid is needed for the workers who are jobless. And then the businesses also need aid. So this aid is the need of the hour. And obviously, various nations have come out with the package to help the businesses and to help those who are in need. that one very important thing which is to be highlighted here, and that has happened unfortunately, that inequality has widened. We had seen that because of the globalization and the pure reason of economics as to the investment taking place in the areas where there is better return, and that leads to the inequality. In this pandemic, we have seen that inequality has widened because not everybody is able to work. Not everybody is able to work from home, and therefore there is a great joblessness that we have seen all around us. And it's the latest figures are approximately 30%, 27 to 30% unemployment is what we are witnessing in India. Then the people at the bottom, the poor people, suffer the most. People that do not have higher skills, or people with lower skills, lower wage level, tend to be harmed more when there is recession. And this is what we are witnessing, the recessionary trends. And some people go on to say that it can actually lead to a depression. Now, we see that there is this design that there are business providers, there are employees, and there are customers. In a business, this is how the system operates. There is a business provider, there are employees, and there are customers. This connect is broken down because of the characteristic of the pandemic, and that's what is hurting the most. So even when we want to work, we are not able to do it because of the nature of the pandemic. Now, there is this question mark, and quite frankly, nobody knows as to whether this recession is going to, culminate into a depression, because we do not know as to when the medicine is going to come out, the antidote is going to come out. Yeah, so there is uncertainty about the future. The losses incurred each passing day, the GDP has come down. And if we see that various industries have taken a lot of toll, like we see here, there is automobile, restaurants, real estate, aviation, tourism. These are the businesses which have suffered the most. Fortunately, one ray of hope is the agriculture, and which I say is the end of the world business, though it should not be called as a business because it is pure primary activity. There it is expected that it would be negative 1.5 growth projected for the year. But it can be revived if the government puts in the policies and it tries to manage the supply chain issues. So agriculture is one great ray of hope there. As I've said, that the industrial activity has come to a halt. We have witnessed that sharp decline in the production. The foreign exchange reserves are going down. Here, India, fortunately, is an exception, and it does very well here, because we've seen the foreign exchange reserves are not relatively not going down as compared to other countries. One of the reasons is that the oil demand, which is the major chunk of what India imports, has gone down. Though the exports have gone down, but simultaneously the imports also have gone down, and which is why we see that the foreign exchange reserves are relatively stable. And also the fact that there are plenty of FDIs that have been recently announced. Like we saw that Facebook is investing heavily in Geo, and now Reliance says that it is not going to be only a petroleum company. It would primarily be getting out of petroleum, in terms of not known as a petroleum company. It wants to project itself as an IT company. So over there is a great investment that we are expecting to take place. We have seen that in USA, there is massive unemployment, and that's hurting the US economy. UK is finding it very difficult. Asia, Japan, Singapore are really feeling the heat due to the pandemic. And if we see that South Korea's export is contracted by 23%. Singapore is contracted by 2.2. So these are some figures which tell us about the impact of this crisis. The Russian economy has gone down by a third, and which is one of the worst hit countries. The figures that are coming out from Russia in terms of those who are getting infected is really alarming. And we really do hope and pray that the country recovers as soon as possible. Now, countries like China, Germany, Italy, France are testing economic revival. India has not done that so far, and then it could be a great case study for other nations to learn from them, and then try to sort of emulate if there is some great finding there in terms of making models where people do not get infected. Then New Zealand is able to control this spread. It's a great sort of uh, ray of hope, and trying to learn from New Zealand could be one thing. As I said, Singapore is a hit. So their DBS managing director, he has said that this problem would be faced by the developing countries and the countries which are not very rich. The rich countries have deep pockets, and which is why they are able to spend a lot to help the needy, which may not be the case with developing world. And this is something which is cause of concern for everyone. Then if you see that in case of Vietnam, it's an example, and this is an outlier, if we can call it, because there, for some reason, the infections are very less. Uh, we see China's export has declined, and the import has also declined, but then the exports decline is 17%. So these are basically some of the numbers that I wanted to bring on the table for all of you to understand what is the sort of impact of this pandemic. Now, we come to the second point of the presentation, which is related to the major challenges and threats for the businesses. Now, I have listed these points which I feel that are important for businesses to understand. Now, the first is changing business definition. Now, business definition means what is that business offers to the customers, and what is the business's main activity, and who all are the customers. And that's what is business definition all about. So what is the business? That means what is the product and service being offered, and who all are the customers to whom the business is uh, working for. And that those definitions are going to change. And it appears that these businesses will have to maybe uh, diversify into some other area. They'll have to look at the scope of business, and those industries where the chances of revival, or the industries which are IT based industries, IT platform based industries, should be looked at. This is a challenge as to whether the companies have to go on with the same business definition, or whether they change their businesses because of the businesses closing down. And that's one great challenge, because they'll have to accordingly put their money onto different areas maybe. Then the challenge is related to the manpower availability and layoffs, and this is a cash situation for the businesses where they are not able to have people coming to work, and then those who are not able to work, especially the workers, they are going back to their hometowns, and bringing back these workers would be a challenge. Then connecting with customers again and engaging them. Customers are not willing to come because of the nature of pandemic, and trying to make sure those customers remain loyal to the business is a massive challenge. Production lockdown is an issue. Supply chain disruption is another issue. Inventory management, as to how to manage uh, the the stock of finished goods, the stock of the material, and that becomes an issue because the demand has gone down drastically, which leads to the working problem and working capital problem and the cash flow problems. So these are some of the challenges I wanted to bring to you. Then the next set of challenges are related to the opening up of businesses. Now, once this opening up of businesses allowed by various governments, then the protocols have to be made. The business models have to change. The blueprint of how to going about doing the business will go a drastic change, and that becomes a challenge. And that becomes a challenge for the employees, and that also becomes a challenge for the companies to make sure that various stakeholders follow those protocols in order to avoid getting infected. Then the social contracts will have to be redefined. The rights and duties of the employees, the rights and duties of the service providers, the rights and duties of the employers, they have to be redefined and re-understood. Then the future work and consumption pattern again is going to be redefined as to whether people are going to work from home and how much is going to be the consumption, how much would be the demand. These are the challenges which the companies do not know. Mobilizing resources at great speed and scaling up and scaling down the production processes again are massive challenges. We have seen that countries like China have been able to create models like SEZ model where the manufacturing can be scaled up very fast. It can be scaled down at the same time. Now, whether the businesses would be able to do that in near future is a challenge. So mobilization of resources, the material, and the scaling up of the operations, scaling down of the operations is a massive challenge. Then there is this concept of globalization to regionalization to localization. We might witness anti-globalization forces operating, which means that maybe the countries may not be very much interested in depending on others. We have seen that the government in India is talking about Atmanirbharta or trying to be self-dependent, not relying too much on the foreign players. Now, this is something which is good, but at the same time, globalization and importance of globalization cannot be neglected, and therefore, the businesses and the governments will have to be very careful about the extent of globalization and deglobalization that needs to be taken care of. So there is a need for globalization and also deglobalization as and when required. Now, the third point is related to the opportunities and the uh, overcoming of threats. So we see that the government has given massive package for especially targeting to the MSMEs and the people who need the money, and that appears to be good in terms of people now have a great positive sentiment that they will get help from the government, which is 10% of the GDP, which is a huge amount. 2 lakh crore packages announced by the government. Now, if we try to compare the package with other countries, yeah, if we try to compare the package with other countries, we can see that Germany, it is 60%, Italy. So as I was saying, that there are countries with deep pockets who can spend. And then if you look at UK, France, it is 21%, 26%, US is 14%, Spain is 12%. Now, India is 10%, which is more than France, more than Spain, and this was up to 10th of May, this figure. It's more than UK, China, Italy, and this stimulus package might just help the industries to revive. As I said, this particular portion is related to the opportunities and overcoming threats. So the government stimulus could be a panacea which the industry is looking at. Now, if we look at for individual business organizations, irrespective of what industries they are working in, there are some opportunities, and those opportunities are related to the protection of workforce. So the businesses which are able to protect their workforce interest, the businesses which are able to proactively prevent the spread of the disease and are able to create great models are going to survive. So great communication is the need of the hour. Then there is a requirement for communication infrastructure, like businesses can have a situation of working from home where the employee need not come in close proximity. So technology can be a great help there. Then also some businesses are trying to have staggered work shifts, like there could be number of shifts where people come in different times so that better social distancing can be practiced. Also engaging and communicating with government and healthcare agencies, the need of the hour. All these private businesses should be very much proactive in terms of communicating with the government and healthcare agencies as and when the cases come to the notice of these businesses. Then one important thing is job rotation and making employees learn multiple skills. This is a very important thing which is followed by Japanese companies, where a person is taught to learn various skills, so that person is actually of value to the company. And if there is too much of focus on specializing in a particular thing, then it might be a problem, and the person may end up losing the job because that type of activity may not be needed. So this is something which can be looked at for from the point of view of protection of workforce, and so these companies can look at this as an opportunity. Sorry, I have to go now. Yeah. All right. Now, supply chain stabilization. It's related to demand management. When the demand has gone down, it has plummeted, and that has led to the problems of inventory management and production decisions, production scheduling. The engagement of stakeholders, again, has been problematic. So the businesses who are able to do this well, they are able to do it better than the competitors would be able to survive. So supply chain stabilization is the need of the hour, and the businesses will have to work out ways for long-term relationships with the stakeholders for the purpose of supply chain stabilization. And then there is a need for a great reciprocational arrangement between the stakeholders like the one found in China and Japan. Logistics optimization as to minimizing the cost there in logistics operations again is a great opportunity. Then customer engagement is the key. So whether it is business to business communication or business to customer communication, the businesses should try to leverage technology to help the customers. For example, I was just trying to communicate with the customer care of Airtel yesterday. I had a problem of connectivity, internet connectivity. And there I found out it was very difficult for me to get in touch with a physical person. And I was told that I can utilize the online application for helping myself. I mean, though I tried, it was not much of a help to me. And therefore, if there is some kind of an auto bot, or if they have a great AI which can be created, where the customer concerns can be taken care of using the business to customer communication platforms, that would be really great, and that can be an opportunity to leverage the technology. Then the customer encounters to be redesigned and recreated. As I said, that in order to engage with the customers, the protocols have to be laid down, and those customers will have to be in a way trained and informed about the complete protocol and the complete customer encounter, so that they are able to buy, they are able to demand. At the same time, customers and the sellers are protecting themselves. Customer monitoring is again important, that once the customers are in close proximity, these customers have to be continuously monitored. Maybe there is a need for a separate department which takes care of the fact as to where the customer is moving and how the movement is taking place at the place of sales. So these are some of the things which are related to the customer engagement. Then we look at the financial prudence for business organization. Now, this we are talking from the point of view of business organizations. There is a need for arranging for the working capital which is required in different scenarios. And if the companies are able to manage their working capital well, the cash flow, those businesses would survive, and those would be able to do better than the competitors. Then maybe there is a need for creating a separate department, as I was saying, that it could be called as a COVID-19 hub, or it could be a hub or a spoke model for quick response. So the moment company realizes that there is a positive case found somewhere in some of the branches, then there needs to be a protocol which could be immediately, which can immediately come into picture, and those affected can be taken care of and making sure that they do not infect others. So maybe there is a need for creating a hub and spoke center for quick response and to be able to protect the people. Now, cashless transaction again is a great mm, advantage these days, which the businesses follow, and they can do more of that in order to be safe. The strategic alliances, mergers, and takeovers in order to uh, play their games well. The businesses can come together, the competitors can come together, forming strategic alliances. There can be mergers, there can be takeovers, there can be joint ventures to protect and to be able to uh, fight the competition together. That's one way of looking at the opportunities. Mergers and takeovers, strategic alliances could be great opportunities. Then ethics in business is very important. So utility for stakeholders is the key. And we have seen there are businesses who have, instead of reducing the salaries, they have actually increased the salaries of the employees to be able to make sure that these employees continue to be loyal stakeholders. And if those companies are taking care of their employees when they need it the most, they are the ones who are going to reciprocate. There is a need for great fairness in the distribution of the benefits to the stakeholders. There is a need for protection of rights of the stakeholders. These are basically the elements of ethics in business. So there is utility, there is fairness. Then the protection of rights is a very important argument. Care for the customers. You see, the ethics of care as a concept talks about the importance of caring for those who are the near and dear ones. So for a business, I would say the customers are nearer as compared to the, sorry, I would say the employees are nearer as compared to the customers. So employees should be taken care of first, and then once they are happy working, they would be able to make more and more customers. Now, these four elements are very important, and that can be an opportunity for businesses to be ethical and try to protect the interest of stakeholders. Yeah. So now, from the individual businesses, if we look at the industries, there are some industries which have great chances of sort of turnaround, and they are the ones who can do very well. Insurance is one such industry where there is 3.4% penetration, which is premium to the GDP ratio. There is 25% of population in India which is insured, and so which basically leaves the remaining 75% uninsured population. And out of this 25, 8% are adequately insured. Only 8% are adequately insured. We see that agriculture and agri-business is another great possibility for businesses to do well. And this area is a great area which will always do well. As I said earlier, that this is the end of the world activity. When nothing remains, agriculture is one thing which is going to remain, and it is going to remain forever. Then the need for nature and environment friendly industries, and which create less exploitation, which also create less pollution. This is the need of the hour for industries to try to figure out models which are better models so far as environment is concerned. We have seen in this situation, environment has been able to revive itself. The nature, the Mother Earth has been able to breathe for some time. Then MSME sector is again important, which can promote agri-business and agri-exports from India. Healthcare is again an area of public and private healthcare, which could be great in terms of the future possibility, because that is what is going to be needed. Then the government needs to spend a lot on public healthcare system. That is very important. The government needs to increase the spending on human capital, which is education, and maybe use of technology in education can also be a thing which can be looked at. Now, pharmaceutical, one company which is known as Serum Institute of India is one of the world leaders so far as the vaccine manufacturing is concerned. and this company is working in, it is working together with Oxford to sort of to be able to come out with vaccine for COVID-19. Yeah, so sanitation and public hygiene again is a great opportunity. So we see that companies are making masks. There are companies which are making PPE kits. There are companies which have started manufacturing the instruments which are required for reviving the patients. Then again, vegetarianism is one thing which can be promoted. Veganism can be promoted because what we have seen, it appears that this particular virus has come into human beings due to the eating practices. And that probably can change. So that's a great business and industry opportunity. Then artificial intelligence in customer care is a great opportunity. So the businesses can look at investing more and more into artificial intelligence so that the AI can take care of the customer care, and the customer uh, problems can be taken care of without the human interference. And that is going to be safe as well. Then the cloud-based home delivery systems, like there's a concept of cloud kitchen where the restaurant is not needed. And there are various youngsters who have started having the cloud kitchen where the food can be made and home delivered through Swiggy and Food Panda. For nations, uh, like China has the ability, it has the ability of coming back because it has got a great SEZ model. It has got a great business model where it can scale up the operation, it can scale down the operation. Uh, Globalization will get impacted, but is going to stay because the countries do not have any option but to remain in a globalized world and to be able to mutually reciprocate and get benefited. Non-alignment in diplomacy will help. Taking sides of USA, taking sides with China may not be a very good idea. So trying to have the open diplomacy for talks is always going to be beneficial. Spend on education, spent on healthcare, renewable resources by the government is the need of the hour, and strong executive and strong officers which can take care of the law and order situation is where the opportunity lies in terms of taking care of the COVID problem. Now, from industry, I would like to talk about for the individuals. It is said that one has to be a master of something and jack of none. There was an old saying that, oh, this guy is jack of all but master of none. Now, need of the hour is to do this. That means there is a requirement to learn multiple skills because 20 years from now, we do not know what kind of world would there be. We do not know 6 months from now what kind of world would there be. So if people do not want to lose jobs, it is important to try to have multiple skills. The students, it is important to understand the importance of learning artificial intelligence, machine learning, business analytics, maybe digital marketing, or simply the ability to make a website or working on a Photoshop or Illustrator. These are the things which are important because I was reading a particular news article by Yuval Noah Harari. He's an author from Israel, and he says that he writes in his book that say 20 to 30 years from now, we do not know what kind of jobs would there be. So if somebody is working as an Ola or Uber driver, and all of a sudden it happens that there are these self-driven cars, those drivers would not be needed. And if he's 50 years of age, he doesn't know anything else, he would be left not, I mean, he would not be able to do any task, and therefore it is important to be able to learn as much as possible. So I think I'm going to end my presentation here. I think I have taken some time more than what was allowed to me. So I halt myself here. Thank you.
Ramesh, dear participants, this is a call for question from your part. Sir, we have a question here.
Yeah.
What is the strength of India that can sail us out from the decreasing economic growth?
I would say that there's a great uh, chance of people remaining back in their villages, and maybe agriculture can be revived. And government had been trying for a long, long time. Various governments have come and gone. They have been trying for a long, long time to sort of somehow focus on agriculture. We have recently seen that they have deregulated the market in agriculture, and those kind of things would be good. And agriculture is one thing which can be looked at. Cooperative farming maybe can be a great opportunity.
Thank you. Now, another question, sir, from one of the due to lockdown, online education has achieved exponential market.
Right.
What do you say that it will sustain after COVID-19?
Yeah, it is going to sustain itself, but the need for a human connect would always be there. You know, it can just never be substituted with the Zoom classroom or using the technology. Man to man connect between teacher and student is a must. So I would say that both are going to coexist. Maybe we may have a situation where some credits can be done by the online medium or through other similar methods, but the human to human touch is important and also necessary.
Thank you, sir. Now, another question from another participant. PM has suggested us to be vocal for local and to
Right.
make local products will be successful to sustain in this lead.
Yeah, it's actually a great idea. I mean, focusing on not depending on others, trying to be independent is always a great idea, and that's what China has done for the last 30 years. If we look at the import of technology, it has come down drastically, and all that they need is taken care of within the nation. And if we could somehow focus more on human capital, focusing on education, on healthcare, and those are the things which can help India. And thereafter, we can think of these of being independent. But yes, uh, focusing on localization is again a great strategy, and so that we can sort of be stronger in the world market, we can have better terms of trade.
Thank you, sir. Another question is, US and Japan manufacturing companies working in China are planning to shift to India. So how it will affect Indian economy and the financial market?
Yeah, it needs to be seen as to how many of these companies are relocating themselves, because though we hear that there are multiple companies, but then there are these competitors, like Vietnam is a competition, then you have Indonesia as a competition, then our next door neighbor, this Bangladesh is a competition. So yeah, we need to somehow. And then recently we have seen that the New Zealand Prime Minister is calling for Make in New Zealand initiative. So we'll have to figure out ways to make sure that we invite these companies. Cheap labor can be in our advantage, and yes, that's a great opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Another question is, what are the new avenues which India can innovate in for economic?
Yeah, I say pharmaceutical is one great field. I was talking about the Serum Institute, which is arguably the world leader in terms of the market size, selling vaccines. So, pharmaceutical is one thing that comes to my mind. We can be an educational hub because of the fact that a lot of population speaks English, and we have a great unity in diversity, and we are inviting outsiders with open arms. In fact, the university where I teach in, it has various foreign students. So education is one area which can be looked at. We have great opportunity there. Agriculture is another thing. Pharmaceutical is another thing that comes to my mind. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. The last question, as now buyers staying at home, out of home marketing becomes obsolete. So having a strong digital strategy is critical. What do you say about this? how extra mental burden companies will have to cope up with the same.
Absolutely. See, using technology, leveraging technology for customer engagement will be the key. As I said, see, the customer is looking at a contact point and is looking at possibility of multiple ways of contacting with the company. Say, I give you my example. I was trying to call up the customer care, and I was kind of uh, sort of worried how am I going to do today's presentation, but then I did not have any help. Fortunately for me, I am using my son's data for the purpose of live streaming myself. It is better than the one which I'm using. So yes, the companies will have to figure out ways of connecting with customers, trying to take care of the fact that they can be serviced. Customers don't have to go, and then they'll have to create models where physical distances become meaningless. So the customers do not have to go. Like if I want to get my car serviced, it could be within at a very short notice that somebody can come and get it, and again they give it to my doorsteps. So something on those lines, digital marketing is going to be the key. And yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you, sir. I wholeheartedly thank Dr. Animesh Singh for sparing his valuable time and generous presence. Sir, I remain grateful to you for your philanthropic approach. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Now, it is a moment of pride that the son of Indore, an exceptional personality, Dr. Rahul Mathur, is the resource person for the second phase of our web. Secretary, Dr. Mathur is presently working as director and consultant psychiatrist in the 3 renowned hospitals of Indore. Conferred 9 gold medals of his outstanding educational achievements. This list includes prestigious Padma Bhushan late Dr. S.K. Mukherjee, Sonar Films Bombay, Shri Kamalakant Vashisht Memorial, and Dr. R.P. Singh Memorial Medals, to mention a few. Young and dynamic psychiatrist Dr. Rahul Mathur has gained enormous reputation as a caring and skilled clinical with a deep authored a thesis and 15 research papers. He has chaired a good number of conferences and symposiums. One of the biggest pride for all of us is that Dr. Mathur is a corona warrior and is working in the service of corona patients in Indore city. I am sure that with the kind of expertise Dr. Mathur possesses, he will not only leave a mark of difference, but also suggest means which would help to overcome the trauma of coronavirus. Delightfully, I invite Dr. Rahul Mathur to address the participants with the help and understand the manner through which fight with corona. Sir, please.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can my video be seen? Actually, I'm signed in through 2 different cell
No,
phones.
sir. Your video is
So
not.
what I want is, there are 2 phones of mine which have been logged in. I want that screen of one be on for my video and other for the screen sharing. Can it be done?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Shall I proceed?
Sir, your video is not visible
Sure.
from Rahul Mathur.
My video would be visible through Rajkumar Mathur. It is my father's phone, which I have used for the video purpose. Can it be done?
Actually, you have shared the screen now, so it's not possible to share that video along with that.
I've shared the screen from one cell phone, and there is another cell phone by the name of Dr. Rajkumar Mathur, through which I have logged in, and the video is on.
Yes, sir.
I just said that.
Yes, sir, you can proceed.
Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir. Actually, video is not visible. Your screen is visible on.
I just sent an hi from the other phone of mine. Can it be seen? Okay, I'll do one thing. Just a second. I'll do one thing. Yeah. Can I be seen? Hello?
Only your screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Hello? There seems to
Rahul,
be
sir.
some technical. Yeah.
Rahul, sir, you're visible now, sir. Yeah, you're visible.
Okay. Yeah. So I shall proceed with my with my lecture. Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Nimesh. I tried to understand the topics which you tried to explain, but because of my limited understanding, I could understand, quite less. Let us go ahead with my topic. There is no need in saying that the time is tough. We are fighting coronavirus, COVID-19 status, and the world has changed. No points in guessing that. What we have to do is we have to understand the new normal. Dr. Nimesh has tried to elaborate us on the new normal of the economic side. Let me go ahead with the psychological aspect of the post-COVID status or the current lockdown COVID status, right? So there are four. I've jotted down four subsections under which I'll be talking. Firstly, I've been told to talk about about how to take care of personal hygiene. So yeah, I'll be talking on it a bit. Secondly, how is human psyche affected? Thirdly, how to combat that, how to become mentally strong. And finally, I will be sharing some instances, where positive attitude has helped patients fight this current COVID status. So without wasting time, let me go ahead with my topic. And I'm really very sorry that I could not prepare a PPT presentation because as been told, I was doing my COVID duties. It ended 3 days back, and I am presently in quarantine. So I had no access to laptop. So that is why two mobiles, and I'm really very sorry. I apologize for not preparing and not being able to make a presentation for you guys. So let us go ahead. We'll try to manage through this screen, and I'll try to answer as many questions as possible. And let us make this interaction, interactive. So any questions you have, just post it, and we can answer that later. So let us go ahead. Firstly, how to take care of personal hygiene. So as a doctor, I've done my MBBS, I've done my MD, and being posted in COVID status, I have learned a lot about the current COVID status. So what I've come to understand is, it is not something which we should be very much, be fearful of. How to take care of yourself, or how to take a personal hygiene, I'll explain. I'll be talking about that. But the first thing that we need to do is, it is not something which will surely kill you. I would say that the scare is too much. The problem is not that big. Firstly, I would say that there is a universal thing which everybody says, that we have to, whenever we go out, or firstly we try to maintain the social distancing. So firstly, avoid going out, even though it is not a very big scare. But what happens is, the virus has a strong communicability. It is not killing that much people, but it affects a lot many people. If 10 people come in contact with a COVID patient, 3-4 might get affected. This was not the case previously with any other illness. So that is why we are worried. It is not because the virus will definitely kill you. The killing percentage, the virulence is very less. It is only 2%, which is very, very less. Believe me, it is very less. And even that mortality is occurring in patients who have other problems. So yeah, still, if you are going out, you have to take few precautions, which can be memorized with a code, which is set SMS, which everybody of us know, that sanitizer. You have to take a sanitizer outside with you. You have to wear a mask, and you have to practice social distancing. So even if you're going out, you have to maintain distance with people. For example, there are people who are going out on work. So the new normal is, even if you meet your colleagues, you don't have to shake hands. You have to maintain a distance of, a comfortable distance would be around 2 feet. So try to manage things, in that manner. Mask, it could be any, if you're a normal individual going on a normal work, if you're not into a medical sector, don't go out and go searching for an N95 mask. A normal surgical mask, or a mask which is prepared at home, is enough. Believe me, it is enough. It is just a barrier. You don't need an N95. Everybody does not need an N95 mask. Thirdly, sanitizer. So we have to be careful. Sanitizer should contain at least 80% alcohol content. So choose your sanitizer wisely. There are many local companies which are preparing fake sanitizers. So get a sanitizer which is trustworthy, or you have read some ratings on the internet, or a company which is trustworthy. So this is precaution which maximum of you might be knowing. I want to speak on some other things also when we are talking about personal hygiene. So the key thing is, I'll tell you very, very basic things, like what you have to do. If you are going outside, you have to protect your face, right? If your leg gets exposed, or your hand or arm gets exposed, you're not likely to get coronavirus. So the thing to understand is, how does coronavirus enter into your body? It can only enter from your nose, from your mouth, and from your eyes. So what you have to do is, whenever you go out, you have to protect your face. How? You try not to touch your face the moment you step out from your house. So the first thing first, do not touch your face when you go out from your house. Before leaving the house, you have to do one thing. You have to prepare a detergent solution before leaving the house. It is for the clothes that you would eventually drench your clothes into that detergent water. So before going out from the home, make in a small vessel or something, you just prepare a detergent water before going. Do not touch your face, as I told. Wear mask, use sanitizer. Now, what you have to do after you come back is you have to prepare a routine. There has to be a routine which all we doctors are following. When we go out, we do not what we do is we just tie our hands behind our back, so that involuntary sometimes you have an itch, or you involuntary you can touch your eyes, or you can involuntarily touch your nose. So make an habit that when you go outside, you tie you lock your hands just behind your back. This helps. It helps you not involuntarily touching your face. The routine which I was talking about is, when you come back home, make this a routine, make this a habit, that when you're about to go home, or when you leave from your work and for your home, call somebody at your home if somebody is available. Tell them that you are coming home, and the reason for this is that they would open the gate and they will open the bathroom gate. So the two gates need to be open: the main door and the gate of the bathroom in which you will be directly going and bathing. So the routine includes 5 things. Firstly, make the call. Make the call to somebody at home. Tell them to open the gates. As soon as you enter your home, just remove your shoes outside. Or the preferable thing would be, what we doctors are doing, that we have 2 sets of shoes, or a set of shoes which you will wear at your workplace, and a slipper which you will keep in your car. So as soon as you're done at your workplace, you take your shoes and you put it in the in your back seat, or in your dashboard, wherever you can put it, and wear that slipper, right? And after entering the home, remove that. Even that slipper needs to be removed outside. So the second routine is shoes, right? Third routine which you have to do is, as you have made the call, all the doors have been open, you do not need to touch anything at your home. Not even the doorknobs, nothing needs to be done. The first thing that you have to do is you have to rush to the bathroom, and in the same manner you have to tie your hands at your back and just enter the bathroom as soon as you can. And the third routine is, remove your clothes and put it in the detergent water that you have prepared, or tell your family members to prepare it. So you have to immediately go and remove your clothes and in the bathroom, and you have to put it in the detergent water. Fourth routine is hand wash. After you have removed your clothes, go for a hand wash. Hand wash, it is a 7-step process, which probably you might be knowing, or you can see a YouTube video for that. It is basically, you have to cover all the ends of your hand. You have to cover the nails. So it has basics, some steps, which includes the thumbs, the fingers, the spaces between the fingers. The locking part has to be done, and then you will find it in the in YouTube. If you search for it, there is a YouTube video for it. So hand wash needs to be done as soon as you remove your clothes. And the fifth routine is take a bath. Trust me, if you follow this routine which I have told, you will not have coronavirus. That is my guarantee, right? So do not touch your face when you go outside, and when you come back, follow all these 5 routines. What it does is, not only it protects you, it will protect your family members. If you are exposed, it will protect your family members from further getting it, right? So this was about the personal hygiene which I wanted to talk about. So yeah, SMS, and the routine which you have to follow, right? Let us move on the second thing which we have to discuss, which is to what extent the human psyche has affected, right? Let us go ahead with this. We'll cover this thing into two parts. So the psyche has been affected because of two things in this context. Firstly, is the fear of coronavirus itself, fear of the COVID illness. And second is because of lockdown. So these are two major things which has affected our psyche to a greater extent. Let us go ahead with the first part, which is the coronavirus itself, because of the coronavirus itself, because of the fear of COVID disease. So as we are seeing cases, as we come to know, there are a lot of people who are experiencing stress, experiencing depression, experiencing anxiety, and experiencing panic attacks. You will see a lot of people who are, a lot worried about what is happening, what is going to happen, and because of this, they have all these problems. Depression is something, where you would feel low, you will remain sad during the whole day, you will have sleep problems. The most common problem that we see is stress. Because of stress, there are a lot of mental health problems which are occurring in this context. Let us try to understand the reason of why these problems are occurring because of coronavirus. So these are situations which are occurring to people who have not got the disease, right? To normal people like you and me. So why is it happening? What are the reasons why this illness or the knowledge of this illness is affecting our psyche? There are many reasons, yeah, right? It could be different for different people. First is people fear that, will I get corona? This is a doubt. It is a common because of this, whether I be affected or not. What will happen if I get coronavirus disease? So this is first reason. Second is what will happen to me if I get the disease. Third reason is because of the treatment. If I get, would I be treated or not? What would the treatment comprise? How will my treatment go about? What will be the isolation facilities? Will I be isolated, or will I get quarantine if I get the illness? Then fourth is which is the most common problem. Am I going to die? So let us discuss about this illness regarding all these problems. And there is another problem which people face, and they have fear of this illness, which is the world going to end? Right? So these are questions which arise in the minds of many people, many common people. Some have problems due to this, some don't. Let us try to address all these concerns because of the COVID disease. Because I believe if you want to curtail a problem, you have to address the reasons because of which it is occurring. So first, let us go through all these concerns that people have. Firstly, will I have coronavirus? Yes, you can have. I'm not trying to scare, but the virus is communicable, and it can it can be transmitted even through slight contact. But my question is, I've been in the I've served in the COVID world, and around 90% people, they are not having any symptoms, uh, and the rest 5% people, they have only mild symptoms like fever, URI, which you have always, you have every one of us have experienced that. So and the mortality in this coronavirus, in this disease is only 2%. People might say, oh, 2%, 100 in 100, 2 people die. But try to understand this. The 2 people who are dying, they have many other comorbid factors also. Age is one factor. There are many comorbid disease which are present in people. And if you try to try to calculate the percentage, the mortality which a normal individual will have, it is very less. It would be less than 1%. So so 1% is very, very less. We have seen many illnesses. For example, TB. TB has a mortality of more than 5%, but we are not afraid of getting TB, right? So I definitely feel that the scare around getting corona or getting COVID illness is too much. Even if you get it, your world is not going to end. It is a very, very normal illness in 90% of the people. So don't be afraid. But as I've said, our first policy should be to prevent it. And as if you go through the routine which I have discussed, there is very, very less chance that you'll get that illness. It is 1 in 10,000. So I think it should be, if you practice all these precautions, you can safely say that you will not develop the coronavirus disease. Second is, what will happen if I get coronavirus? You will undergo treatment. The treatment is very normal. It is it is not a rocket science. It is something which normal URI infection, the normal sore throat, the medication that you take for normal sore throat or normal cough, which all of us have had sometime in our life. It is exactly like that. There are no unique symptoms in this illness. You will not hear that a normal individual like you and me, if they develop the disease, 99% you will have normal symptoms like fever, like cough, like running nose, which all of us have experienced sometime in our life. So don't be worried. Even if you happen to have the COVID disease, it is not like cancer that I will not be treated. The treatments are available, and 99.99%. It is that you will be cured, right? Now, fourth is, am I going to die? As I discussed, the mortality is very, very less, and for healthy individuals, people who are not old, you do not need to worry. You do not need to worry that you will die or not. If you take account the mortality, and if you take account the precautions that you are taking, it is totally out of the box thing that you should worry about whether you will die or not. Now, the fifth question, which is the most important, is the world ending. I would like to tell you that a similar pandemic occurred in 1918 also. It was called as Spanish flu. It is said that that flu was more severe than coronavirus, and 25% of the world population was affected. And at that time, there were no antibiotics. The treatment facilities were not that much developed. Even then, the virus, which was more virulent, treatments not being made available, communication facilities were not there, ventilators were not there. Even then, that virus could not end the world. So take it from me in writing that this world is not ending because of coronavirus. it is something which is going to end. We just need to have patience. I can tell you as a doctor, I can tell you in writing that coronavirus is not going to end this world. It is something which we have tackled around 100 years back. Actually, this is what the cycle of a viral or flu illness is. Every 100 years or 125 years, there occurs a pandemic. It has happened in the past. It has happened. There are so many literatures of it being in the past. It is because of the virus cycle only. The virus has a genetic cycle, and in 100, 125 years, you come to see a virus which becomes this virulent. So it has happened in the past, although we have not seen it in our lifetime, but it has occurred previously also. So be assured, the world is not ending, right? So this should answer some of the questions which many of us might be having in our mind. Secondly, problems due to lockdown. Let us try to go through it. Yeah. So lockdown. So due to lockdown, also people have faced a lot of problems. We see depression, we see anxiety in people. Because of lockdown, a most common problem is sleep problems. Lot of people they're saying that doctor, we don't have any problems, we don't have depression, we don't have anxiety, but I cannot sleep, or my sleep cycle has changed. Then there are adjustment issues. Adjustment disorder is one another entity which we are seeing in a lot of people, right? So again, let us go through the reasons of why this is happening. Why people are having psychological problems due to lockdown. So the first and foremost reason is boredom. People do say it is not corona, it is borona, because we have got bored in at our homes. So yeah, first reason is boredom. As we say that empty mind is devil's workshop. So boredom is one of the first and foremost reasons. Secondly, our life has changed. It is a new normal. None of us were prepared to stay at home without doing anything for 3 months. It is new for each one of us. Our lives have changed. Third reason is unavailability of items. It could be essential items, it could be non-essential items. As I guess, I don't know what are the people who are listening, but I assume that most of us are in this status that we are getting essential items at our home through any means. Like if I can only speak about my city, Indore, people are getting essential items. At least you get things which you can eat. There is no scarcity of items which you can prepare at home or you can eat. So I guess it is mostly the unavailability of non-essential items in maximum cases. Fourth reason, which could be quite significant in many people's life, is the financial reasons. There are a lot of people who are suffering a lot of losses. Like Dr. Animesh had also discussed about it. The financial dynamics have changed in the past 3 months, especially for people who were engaged in businesses or medium scale industries. It has it is a tough time for them. So this might another be a reason which might be causing psychological problems. Fifth is social distancing itself. from your near and dear ones, from your friends. There are people who are locked down in their homes. Their families are in different places. And so this has also made a major impact on the people's lives. So these are some reasons which are causing, which has impacted the psyche of normal individuals. Now let us go ahead and how to deal with these problems. How to be. Let us move on to our third section, which is how to become mentally strong and how to deal with these problems which has affected our psyche. Right. So what I'll be doing is I'll be covering this part and how to deal with these problems in subsections. First will be some general advices, some general solutions for individuals like you and me. I would also like to comment a bit about the psychological issues of children. Like many of you might be having children at home, and it is a tough time for the kids also. The first time probably it has happened that for 3 months the whole family is at home, and kids in our practice, the kids have varied impact on their psyche. Some have a positive impact, some have negative impact, but even the children are facing a lot of psychological issues. So we'll be we'll be talking about that also. And in small, I would also like to talk about the older population, the older adults. What problems or what solutions can we give to them, right? Right. And after that, we'll be moving to our final section. So let us go ahead. Firstly, the general advices. Yeah. First and foremost thing which I would like to urge to all people is stop following the news. It might sound a bit odd, but if it has happened to each one of us. When this coronavirus scare had started, we tracked news a lot. We used to see the news channels or the news portals on the internet various times in a day. So yeah, it does impact our psyche. It is like a blow which keeps hitting your head repeated times. So I would urge that stop following news on any portal that you might be having. You can definitely see the news once in a day, and prefer going through an authentic source. Unfollow all the news portals, apps, channels that you might have subscribed to. This is a very important thing that you should do. It definitely has, and it will have a positive impact on your psyche and your and also on your people of your family. So restrict it to as less as possible. Obviously, I cannot tell you to completely stop it, but restrict it to as less as possible. Try to time it to once a day. Probably you can go through the newspapers in the morning and stop tracking it throughout the day. So first and foremost advice would be stop the news. Trust only the reliable sources. There are many sources on WhatsApp, on Facebook, which can tend to give you the wrong news, unauthentic news. So don't be in a hurry to get the news. You will get it eventually. If there is any news which happens to be there, it will reach you in the morning. So it is just a matter of time. So just keep patience in getting the news. Yeah. Second thing is, which I would urge everyone to do, is keep yourself busy and engaged. It is quite easy to say, but yeah, empty mind is a devil's workshop. If we tend to sit idle, we are not used to it, right? We all of us were working, and all of a sudden we have come to a situation where we are not working at all. Even then, there are people, who tend to, engaged in a lot of activities even during this lockdown, and there are some people like me. I am the idle kind. I don't, I prefer, not doing anything on my rest days. But that should not be the case. You should keep yourself as busy and as engaged as you can. Try to engage in multiple activities as possible. Try avoiding, getting yourself busy in gaming sites like PUBG or any other games, online internet games. Even if you do that, uh, try to engage in less than 2-3 hours in a day. So yeah, you have to have multiple sources of keeping yourself busy. My third advice would be to maintain a strict routine. Now try to understand this. Like I said, there are a lot of people who are coming up with sleep problems. They're saying that I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious, I don't worry about the COVID status, but somehow my sleep, it has got hampered. And the reason for that is because the routine has changed. You know, there is a hormone in our body which is known as melatonin. It is responsible for your when you should sleep, how much you should sleep, and it gets triggered when you maintain a strict routine. If you're not maintaining a strict routine, your body tends to get mixed signals, right? So by maintaining routine, I mean that you can do this. You have to fix the time of breakfast, your time of lunch, your time of evening tea and snacks, and your time of dinner. Try to maintain that routine. It is also called as activity scheduling, but we need to do that. It definitely helps us in keeping a positive attitude and positive psyche. My next advice to keep yourself mentally strong would be to practice home exercises. It is a very basic thing which every one of us might be knowing. But yeah, we need to do it. No points for saying that your physical status, your physical health, your physical activity status, it determines your mental health, your mental activity status. So if you are remaining idle throughout the week, there are more chances of you to be susceptible towards a psychological illness or psychological problem. So yeah, home exercises definitely, as uh, still the time is that we have to stay at home, we have to stay safe. So some normal home exercises, they need to be done. There are many apps, there are many YouTube videos where you can see what exercises you can do based on your physical status, your strength, but you have to do some exercises, right? Fifth status, and it is again a very obvious thing which I would be saying, is try to meditate or try to do a relaxation exercise. Now, meditation, you might have heard. Meditation is something which many people do, but relaxation exercises are something which not many people are knowing. So it is again a modified form of meditation only, relaxation exercises. It is specifically beneficial to people who have restlessness, anxiety, for people who have um, problems with sleep. They all can practice these relaxation exercises. Try to remember this name which I'm trying to say. It is known as JPMR. It is a relaxation exercise which is available on the internet. There are many videos on the internet. It is a 10 to 15-minute exercise. Firstly, what you need to do is you have to go through the video, just go through it once, and just put on an earphone and follow the instructions. Very basic. You have to do it in sitting. And the basic principle is when you do a repetitive muscular contractions, strong muscular contractions, there is a tendency that relaxation, generates in your psyche. So that is the concept of JPMR. Its full form is Jacobson's Progressive Muscular Relaxation. Right, so I cannot. Yeah. Just try to remember the short form, JPMR, Jacobson's Progressive Muscular Relaxation. To the people who are, even affected right now, you can start practicing this, and you will see that in 3, 4, 5 days of time, a sense of relaxation or the anxiety, it starts curbing down, right? So this was about. So till now, the the advices which I have said is stop following every news, keep yourself engaged and busy, maintain a routine, practice home exercises, meditation or relaxation exercises, including JPMR. And the last thing, general advice, which I would like to give is, even right now we are, practicing social distancing, but we have to avoid emotional distancing. We have to avoid emotional distancing. So we have to do social distancing, but we have to avoid emotional distancing. What do we mean by emotional distancing? Now a time has come where we have been in lockdown since for good 2 months now, right? So a phenomenon has been seen in a lot many people that their social skills maybe, or a lot has changed in people. What they were previously, they are not now. There are a lot many people who tend to remain to themselves and not communicate with people, especially to people who are away from family. They are living alone. They don't interact with too many people on a daily basis. So that is what I want to say is, social distancing is absolute must, but don't do emotional distancing. Even if you're living alone, you're living, separately from your friends, you cannot meet them. Try to connect with them, as much as possible. Now is a good time. A lot of us are free. We can connect with our old friends, our old relatives. So it is something which is an effort, which is a step which you should take. Even if you don't like it, try to do that. Try to not be emotionally distant with people, and as many connections as you make, you'll see that the psychological impact that it has would be quite good. So these were my few advices, general advices for people. If anybody has any doubt, we can go through it later. Now I would like to comment about the psyche of our kids, children. What are they going through? As I had discussed, that kids are facing a lot of problems too. Like they're bored, they cannot go out to play with their friends, they're not used to it. Initially, there was a phase when when schools had shut down. What we had seen that initially for 10, 15, 20 days maybe, the children were very happy because they no longer had to go to school. There are many children who like that. But after that, what happened is children are getting bored, and now after 2 months, it is affecting their mental status. It is affecting their psyche. So what we have to do? with children, how can we go about, what are the advices for children is, you have to keep them busy. No points in guessing that. Children, they have to be kept busy. So advices for children, yeah, let us go ahead with it. First is keep them busy. There are many households, but yeah, okay. So how can you keep them busy? That it could be many and many things. Like now, television is, a lot of studies have been done. Television or mobile phones or any electronic media for that matter is not suitable for kids. Children, they get to get along with the electronic media quite well, and they get to tend to pass their time a lot on that thing. But here is what I want you to understand, that try to keep them busy apart from all these sources also. Distribute the time, maybe. A board games could be a solution, or family playing cards could be a solution. Try to engage them in constructive activities. The electronic media is not as constructive. It has seen that the people, the kids who have engaged in a lot of television watch, they tend to develop their intellectual skills a bit less than people who, or kids who read a book, right? Another solution could be there are a lot of card games which are available. You can now, Amazon has started delivering, so you can search on net board games or card games. There are they give you many cards which you can give to children, they can play. Or there are many solutions, but these are constructive solutions. What I'm trying to explain, don't push your kids towards the electronic media too much. Yeah, and the second is you have to give your time. You have to keep them busy, and you have to give them time. Even if you choose to watch a movie, try to do it all together. That would be a good solution. My third advice would be to ask them about what is their interpretation of this illness. Kids, they scare very easily, and I'll tell you what, that a kid, they try to mirror their parents. If parents are too scared about a situation, it reflects in children. So you never know, yeah, how much scared your child might be, how much scared your kid might be. It depends on different ages. A 5-year, 6-year-old child, what is his interpretation of the current situation? 10-year-old, his interpretation of current situation. 14-year-old, it might be different. So you have to ask the current understanding of the situation of your kid about the situation, right? And fourth thing, try to ask and try to understand, right? What they understand, and also try to understand their dangers, how their life is changed, and how they think that their life might change, right? So you have to ask, and then all the facts which your kids receive, they should come from you, because kids, they tend to misinterpret, they tend to get scared, develop anxiety, develop depression quite easily. So yeah, the facts should be screened. And actually, what the thing is, you need not hide the facts. You need not hide the current situation which is going out from your kids. Before they hear it from anyone else or from another source, try to talk it and try to explain, or try to be as clear as you could, and try to explain it to them. You never know, it works magic for kids. If you be transparent with kids, it could work magics for them, right? Fifth is give them responsibility. Yes, engage them, how small they might be. They could be 5 years, 6 years. Try to give them responsibility in the household. It could be very simple, by just giving a responsibility that all these spoons have to be kept in that drawer. So this responsibility can be given to a kid. It can be very small or very minute responsibility which a child of any age could do, but you have to involve them in the in the household, and you have to give them responsibilities which they can do, right? Sixth and the foremost important thing which which is very important for kids, and this would be also the last thing which I would say, is routine. Very, very, very important for kids. In this lockdown, I have heard a lot of parents complaining that the child is not sleeping now. He would sleep at 2 in the night or 3 in the night, and they are very much bothered about it. So the routine is very important, not only of sleep. You cannot expect a child to sleep when he has had his dinner on a different time. So sleep, appetite, getting up, all this routine needs to be checked, and it has to be maintained exactly like it was previously. This needs to be kept in check. There is no excuse for children by saying that they don't have school tomorrow, so they can sleep late or they can get up late. That is not the solution. Totally not advisable. Try to avoid it. So this was these were few advices which I want to discuss for your kids. Now older adults. There might be a lot of people who have their parents at their home, or other people at that at their home. Yeah, and about older adults, what I want to say is, I said that coronavirus is something which, even if you have it, your world might not change. But that is not there for older individuals. The key point which now everybody is now saying is protect your older people. If you protect your older people, then you'll go. Uh, Not with, even if you develop, if you're 40 years, 45 years, you will get through that illness, but that might not happen for your parents or older people. So anybody who is 60, 65 years of above that age, they need to take special care. They cannot afford to develop this illness. So this has to be kept in mind. Secondly, with older adults, a different psychological effect has seen. Maximum older adults, which are living with their families, they're quite happy, because previously, because of children having work, or grandchildren going to school, or it was an issue that many of us were not able to give a lot of time to our older adults, but that situation has changed. So many older adults are happier because of the lockdown than they were previously. But this is not there for all the people. The same is the same fear of the illness is there in older adults also. You can encourage spirituality in them, or engaging in a slight home exercise is important for them. Uh, Try to engage calcium and vitamin D in their diets, because older people are susceptible to deficiency of vitamin D specifically. So either try to supplement it, or because we are not going out. Even all of us, we are not getting proper sunlight. So we have a tendency, even Indians, even without that, we have a tendency to have lower levels of vitamin D, because most of us are vegetarians, and our diet does not have that amount of vitamin D. So what I'm trying to say is, you can supplement vitamin D, or choose to diets which have excess of vitamin D, especially in case of older adults. Meditation, relaxation, maintaining routine, um, emotional distancing, to avoid emotional distancing. These are again some things which are applicable for older adults also. So these were few advices, which sums up our third part, how to become mentally strong. Now let me go ahead with the last part of my lecture. I would like to discuss in few instances in which positive attitude has helped patients in fighting coronavirus. There is one specific case which I would like to discuss. As I told, I was posted in COVID ward, and my duty there was to evaluate patients psychologically and counsel them. So I would like to discuss one case with you guys, which would encourage you also, and it would show how a positive attitude can change your eventual outcome also. As we all know that if we take a lot of stress, it affects our immunity also, right? A person who is in chronic stress or having anxiety, or if he's depressed, not having sleep, will have decreased level of immunity also. So this again calls for a better, it affects your physical status also, your psychological makeup. So yeah, this again calls for a healthier Am I audible? Yeah. Hello. Yeah. So I was discussing this case. So in an award, there was a female who was 98 years of age. She was COVID positive, and she was admitted in MTH hospital for around 6-7 days. She was very depressed. She used to talk less. When I went and when I talked to her, what she said is that I'm 98 years. Her husband had recently died. Just 10 or 15 days back, her husband died because of COVID. She had children, she had grandchildren, but she was very depressed. She had mild symptoms, and she was progressing towards worsening of her illness. But we counseled her. We told her, she was in the opinion that I'm 98 years, I am COVID positive, and my husband is dead. What is left in my life? I was too dependent on my husband. We were, we used to eat together. We have all done all activities together. It happens to be that her husband was 2 years younger to her, and he died because of COVID. So after counseling, we also started her on some medications. Her attitude towards the illness, it changed. That is what we are doing. What I'm trying to explain here is there is a concept called logotherapy, which explains that life has meaning in all these, in the worst of circumstances. Everything can be taken away from you except the choice that you can make to have an attitude what you want to do. And if a person a person has to understand that he has a responsibility towards his families, or towards society, or towards mankind. And if a person understands that he has a responsibility, he can never have an existential crisis. All these examples which I am trying to explain, the logotherapy concept which I am trying to explain, has been derived from a book called as Man's Search for Meaning. It is written by a very famous writer called Viktor Frankl, and it had been written during the World War time. So this is again an instance which I thought I would share with you guys, which would motivate you, inspire you. Because if a 98-year-old female, her eventual COVID status came out to be negative. So if she can fight out the illness, if she can, with her attitude, if she can, come out of it, anybody can. So yeah, and now I've received a message that I think I've gone overboard. Let me end this presentation. I think I will. We should go ahead with the questions, maybe. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, can we go ahead with the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we have got the
Yeah,
question. Like one of
yeah.
our students wanted to know about how this corona will go in our body through eyes.
It can actually. There are very less, cases which are documented, and probably it has not been much researched, but it is said that it can enter through eyes also. That is why people do wear face shields, they wear goggles during their, it can enter through eyes also.
Now, another question was asked that it is, maybe it is a rumor, but it is a question like COVID stays in our body. If somebody has infected with COVID, COVID stays in the body and can return in future in a bigger disease. Can it be possible?
The evidence is not too much conclusive. Yeah, it has been seen in few cases that initially the COVID status, it was negative, and after 15 days it came out to be positive. So we have to try to understand that the initial COVID test which came out to be negative, the COVID test initially had only 30% efficiency. Like if you are positive, the test would detect you in only 30% cases. If you're taking oropharyngeal and nasopharyngeal samples together, that efficiency might increase to 50%. What I'm trying to explain is this phenomenon, which has been asked in the question, it has not been documented very clearly. So we need not fear about it. It is not in majority of cases. We still do not know what is the reason for it. It could be a technical glitch, or because of some testing glitch that it might have happened. We can understand in that aspect also, but we are not sure about that. We need not be worried about that. Absolutely.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Another question is, it is a general question again. If I went to doctor, I want to go to my doctor for routine checkup. So what precautions should I take? Like many other people will go to my doctor also. Might be they are infected, corona infected, or asymptomatic.
Right.
What precautions should I take?
Wherever you go, whatever you do, like I have said, if you follow the basic precautions, like till the time you have to definitely wear a mask. SMS that you have to follow. Till the time you are out and you have touched anything or whatever you do not touch your face. And after coming back, you follow the routine. If you are doing that, don't be worried at all. Okay. Even if you go to a doctor's clinic, even if a COVID patient has been there 5 minutes before, you will not be affected at all. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Last question, sir. Many of people in India are also taking Ayurvedic and Unani herbs treatment also. So can they take this apart from these medical treatments and all?
These I really don't know much about that, but I have heard, and I've there is currently a study going on with about the effect of ashwagandha on COVID status. What I have heard is that it has positive results. As far as I know, Ayurveda or Ayurvedic products, they don't interfere with allopathic treatment. So you can take both together. Try not to stop the allopathic treatment and go totally towards the Ayurvedic. But I don't have any conclusive evidence, but what the results they seem to be coming is that ashwagandha could be beneficial, could be. So yeah, it can be taken. Even a lot of people are taking Chyawanprash during this illness. What Chyawanprash does is Chyawanprash has a high quantity of vitamin C, because if you see the contents of Chyawanprash, it is 80% Amla, and Amla is a high source of vitamin C. So it makes sense. If you are taking Chyawanprash, what you are indirectly doing is you are taking a high quantity of vitamin C. It is definitely beneficial. So yeah, it could be done, but as I've said, I am not a specialist in Ayurveda, so I cannot exactly comment about it. But it can be given a thought on. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So Dr. Rahul, you advised a lot of things so that we can fight with anxiety, depression, loneliness, sleepiness, and coronavirus too. So it is indeed a very informative session. A lot of things we have learned here, and surely we'll practice that also.
Definitely.
Dear participants,
I'm sorry
Thank you,
for
sir.
overburdening your time, please.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay, sir. It's okay. It is for our knowledge only. You are sharing.
Yeah.
Dear participants, we will share a feedback link in the WhatsApp groups, and you are requested to fill the details. The details you fill in the form will be used to generate your online certificates. So please take care and fill the form very correctly. The certificate will reach you in 2 to 3 days. As we come to end of this webinar, I appreciatively thank our college management, resource persons, members of commerce department, and most importantly, you all, the smart participants. It was great being virtually with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello. Ravi sir, can you end?
Hello. Yes, sir.
Can I end the meeting?
Yes.
Can I end the meeting?
Yes, you can end.